Lil Baby is in serious trouble right now, and honestly, it's starting to look like he might be cooked. When I first saw the reports and those first tweets dropping, I was like, whoa, hold up, let me research this. And what I found, it's looking like Lil Baby could actually be indicted on a RICO charge within the next 90 days. So what did he do to end up in this situation? Well, here's the breakdown. Lil Baby's rivals, known as the Goodfellas, are arch enemies of 4PF, his crew, and they're already in the process of being indicted on a RICO case themselves. The major turning point came after the tragic deaths of two young boys, Jacob Davis and Lamont Freeman, both just 13 years old. Freeman was celebrating his 13th birthday, the very day he was killed. Police say the Goodfellas were trying to retaliate against 4PF when the kids lost their lives. Absolutely heartbreaking. Good on the police for catching the shooters, because killing innocent kids who had nothing to do with it is just sick. But here's where things get messy. Atlanta PD is actually putting the blame on Lil Baby himself. They're claiming his reckless actions set off the chain of events that led to the kids' deaths, according to authorities. Violence was triggered when an Atlanta rapper, allegedly Lil Baby, decided to film a music video in rival gang territory, knowing full well the risks. And that's the main reason police are trying to bring him down. They're saying if you've got beef with rivals, why stir the pot by filming in their backyard? So basically the police are saying Lil Baby brought all of this on himself by filming in enemy territory. The shoot got ambushed, shots rang out, and the two young boys ended up being the ones injured. And in retaliation, Lil Baby and 4PF allegedly went after a Goodfellas affiliate named Trevante Turner. After that, the Goodfellas spun the block on 4PF's side, and that's when the two 13-year-old kids tragically lost their lives. Now that's why authorities are putting the blame on Lil Baby, saying his decision sparked the chain of violence. According to court documents, the article states, Wolf didn't name the Atlanta-based rapper, but an arrest warrant confirms it was Lil Baby, real name Dominique Jones. The warrant goes on to say that Jones is affiliated with Four Pockets Full 4PFA group, described by police as a criminal street gang that's been locked in a long-standing war with OMF, a subset of the Goodfellas. Things really escalated back in May, when Lil Baby went to film a music video on the 2100 block of Verbena Street, a spot well known for being OMF territory. Before the shoot even started, multiple gunmen opened fire. 3 people were hit, and Lil Baby himself was nearly struck. And here's where it gets even worse. Police have already rounded up most of the Goodfellas members linked to the murders. But here's the catch: if cops know what one side did, then they definitely know what the other side did in retaliation. And if you've seen how RICO cases play out, you know it's rare for law enforcement to take down just one crew without dragging the rivals down too. Look at YFN versus YSL. Both sides ended up getting indicted because prosecutors had evidence on both ends of the feud. Now here's where it really gets ugly. Since the Goodfellas are already facing RICO charges, prosecutors are applying the same logic to 4PF. And according to court documents, the case against Lil Baby is only getting stronger. In fact, wiretaps were played in court where people allegedly mentioned Lil Baby putting tickets, basically bounties, on people's heads. That's huge, because if law enforcement has evidence on one side, you can bet they've got evidence on the other side too. Investigators testified that in those wiretap calls, Lil Baby was directly tied to violent retaliation. Police records also officially classified 4PF as a criminal street gang out of Oakland City, Atlanta, and even labeled Lil Baby, real name Dominique Jones, as the gang's leader. One of the biggest flashpoints was the murder of Trevante Turner. Authorities said this was directly tied to escalating gang violence between 4PF and the Goodfellas. The beef reignited in May 2024 when Lil Baby decided to film a music video in Dixie Hill Senomi turf. That move was viewed as a blatant provocation, especially since OMF members from Verbena Street already believed 4PF was behind the 2021 murder of their associate Marcus Big Mark Holland. Once cameras started rolling, chaos erupted. Gunmen sprayed the video set with bullets. 3 people were shot, and Lil Baby himself was almost hit. From there, the violence spiraled out of control, with shootings and murders linked to both sides in the weeks that followed. Authorities basically said, that's it, we need to shut this down, and ramped up the RICO investigation. And honestly, it looks like Lil Baby knew this day was coming. In that viral interview with Lil Yachty, he even admitted he was distancing himself from 4PF and trying to separate it from gang ties, especially after seeing what happened with Young Thug and YSL. Lil Baby made it clear he didn't want to be tied to this whole mess, but authorities claim the opposite. After the music video incident, they say 4PF went on a full-blown retaliation spree, making sure anyone who came at Lil Baby paid the price. And here's the thing. Law enforcement is now treating every single act of violence linked to 4PF as gang activity, which only strengthens the RICO case. This isn't new either. Police have been watching 4PF closely for years, especially after the case of 4PF Nate, a known Lil Baby associate who was sentenced to 40 years for murder. During that trial, another suspect, Keontae Davis, flipped on him, telling detectives that Nate was the shooter. He even helped identify Nate from his own Instagram account. The victim was a man named Jaquavius 44 Wilson, and prosecutors didn't just stop at pinning the murder on 4PF Nate. They stacked gang charges on top, officially labeling it as gang-related and tying it back to 4PF as a criminal organization. Davis's testimony was crucial. It showed prosecutors that 4PF wasn't just a rap crew. It was moving like a street gang. And that's exactly how RICO cases get built. Fast forward to now, and things look even worse for Lil Baby. Wiretaps are surfacing that allegedly link him to ordering hits, and the Georgia Public Defender's Office, which specifically handles gang-related prosecutions, has already confirmed they're preparing for a RICO indictment against 4PF. Legal sources are now saying Lil Baby himself is expected to be indicted alongside other members of the group. Net is tightening, and it looks like it's only a matter of time before the hammer drops. Georgia Public Defender's Counsel's specialized unit on gang cases says his office is actively preparing for a racketeering indictment on the 4PF and OMF cases, and that he expects Lil Baby to be indicted along with the others. One of the biggest twists of this case is that Keontae Davis, the man who cooperated with law enforcement against 4PF, was recently found dead. Just 2 days ago, he was shot and killed in Atlanta. The timing of this murder is just honestly pretty crazy. This article reads, 27-year-old shot and killed in Atlanta's Lakewood Heights neighborhood. The Fulton County medical examiner later identified the man killed as a 27-year-old Keontae Davis. The shooting happened just more than half a mile from where police also responded Friday to a home where rapper Young Scooter allegedly ran from and injured his leg, later dying. Police did not give any indication that there was a connection between these two scenes. Now it's unclear whether his death was ordered by 4PF as a retaliation for snitching or whether it was a hit from Goodfellas for his involvement in their rival activities. But one thing is certain, the law enforcement is not happy with the escalating violence, and they are determined to put an end to it. At this point, it's obvious that these ongoing murders are only making things worse for everyone involved. With every new killing, the authorities are only gathering more and more evidence to build a stronger RICO case. And if Lil Baby and his crew truly wanted to avoid this, they should have stepped back and stopped engaging in violence. But obviously that's not what Lil Durk did, that's not what Young Thug did. But now it may be too late. These walls are closing in, and if you know the police are already building a case against you, why keep making it easier? For them, now this is Marissa Bever, who's listed as a so-called gang expert, who plays a big role in this whole situation. Essentially, she goes undercover, blends in, gets close to the gang members, gathers intel, and then uses it against them in court. She actually testified today at the Goodfellas grand jury, and what she said in court has major implications for Lil Baby. So let's break it down real quick. Now this is the Thugger Daily Twitter page, and they posted these 3 pictures of Marissa. And this is what she looks like. So you can see why she was involved with all these gang members. It was probably really easy for her to just pop out, mix in with the group. But what's crazy is that she was really an undercover cop. Now the Thugger Daily Twitter page reads, she blatantly lied on Thug and others to get him arrested. Lied like proven lies. She's making stuff up about Lil Baby now too. But Young Thug even put himself in this situation and said that she's the biggest liar in the DA office right now.
All right, and this investigation began with your looking at the certain Instagram page, and whose was that?
The Instagram page belonged to Keontae Sanders, also known as Midnight.
Okay. And while looking at that page, you found some direct message communications, one of which showed a disappearing message between Mr. Sanders and somebody named Mr. Smith.
Once I received his Instagram returns back, yes.
Okay, and that, what did that message consist of?
It was a photo that Mr. Smith had taken of himself, but had put the word J-Shot across it and sent it in the disappearing message mode.
Now here's the crazy part. Law enforcement was able to recover the messages even though they were sent in disappearing mode. You know how you think that if you send messages on Snapchat or all these other social medias that they disappear forever? Well, turns out that they really don't. They stay there. The police, the feds have access to retrieve all the information that you're sending. Whatever you're sending on the internet on a phone is going to stay there. I'm sure they have access to retrieve it one way or another, and there's a lot of reasons why they are able to do this, because you know these companies are always going to work for the police. They're not going to work for the people. They're working for the police. I'm pretty sure they're legally supposed to be working for the police if the police ask them to.
And this is what's coming up now is already admitted into evidence. Is this the message that was sent?
It is.
And so that was Martavius Smith sent that to Mr. Sanders.
He did.
All right, now, what was significant about that to you?
I knew that Jay Shot or John Smith was a close associate of the leader of 4PF, Dominique Lil Baby Jones.
And 4PF, as you testified already, was a gang that you recognized as being in a rivalry with the Goodfellas, and in particular the only My Family subset of the Goodfellas?
And their associates, yes.
Okay. And how did you know this about John J. Shot Smith, that he was a member of 4PF?
He can be seen out there on his Instagram. He can be seen pictured with Mr. Jones. He frequents the area where the homicide occurred as well.
So essentially what's going on with Lil Baby right now is that he has one of his homies who's a part of 4PF, and this person happens to be in some beef. Now, whatever this guy does, regardless whether or not Lil Baby's involved in it, is going to tie back to Lil Baby because they're claiming the same scent. Now they're treating this as a street gang. If a gang member goes out and does a crime, it's all going to fall back to the main guy. A lot of people are saying, well, first of all, it's not a street gang. Second of all, you shouldn't be tying his business back to Lil Baby or the other person.
All right. So the music video, is that something that you've seen?
It is.
Where'd you see it?
I believe it was on the YouTube account belonging to Mr. Smith.
All right, and permission to publish a brief clip of that video, Your Honor.
Granted.
All right.
We're gonna play a
Now,
video.
Investigator Vivarito, if you'll look at the monitor in front of you. Is this the music video that you were referring to?
I'd have to see the title of it.
This beat go crazy.
Jay Shot Who Want Problems music video?
Yes, that's the one I'm referring to.
All right. And there are certain shots of this video that are at the 1043 Spark Street location?
Yeah, one just flashed on the screen.
Okay, so we've already seen a portion of that then?
Yes.
Okay. All right, so you saw this video, and then you saw that the artist that's depicted in this video, John J. Smith, was also the person depicted in the disappearing message. And on what day was that message sent?
Sent on June 30th. I believe it was read on July 1st.
Now, they even had a wiretap recording where one of the suspects claimed that Lil Baby had money on people's head, the prosecution. Played the recording where someone said that these folks got tickets on these people with tickets, referring to bounties for arrest, harm, or worse. Right? When asked who was putting out these so-called tickets, they said that they heard it was Lil Baby.
What's up? Oh, what's going on? Man, them folks, like, come on, bro, you know what's finna go on. Like, how the hell you can, you know what I'm saying?
They ain't even like that, man. Them folks got tickets on a lot of these folks, I'm telling you.
We just heard somebody say these folks got tickets on these people. We know what's going on. First of all, who was that said that about the tickets?
Unk, the unidentified male that was being referred to as Unk.
And he's speaking with Mr. Sanders.
Correct.
And in your experience, do you know what tickets are?
A price on somebody's head.
What do you mean by what do you mean on somebody?
Even the judge was fed up with her calling her out for dodging questions and being unreliable, but now out of nowhere, she's become the key witness. In a case against Lil Baby claiming he's the leader of 4PF, responsible for gang wars and even putting bounties on people's heads. And the crazy part, the DA is actually taking her words seriously. The public defender's office is already expecting a RICO case against 4PF and Lil Baby within the next 90 days. This could turn into something very similar to Young Thug's situation. Honestly, I think Lil Baby saw this coming. That's why he said what he said in that Lil Yachty interview. That's why he tried to quietly dismantle 4PF before it reached this point to help his case, because when the RICO charges do come, his lawyer will argue, Your Honor, 4PF doesn't even exist anymore. My client never wanted to be part of that life. But what do you guys think? Do you believe rappers forming these so-called music groups that later turn into street gangs will finally come to an end? If you're smart, it should have never been a thing to begin with. Look at Drake, he's got OVO, but it's not packed with street guys. Drake's not from the streets, and while some people hate him for that, it's also why he doesn't have law enforcement breathing down his neck. That's the issue. With being both a criminal and a hugely successful rapper, you become the obvious target. All eyes are on you, and when the police look at your circle, they almost always assume the rich. guy is the one calling the shots. And in a lot of cases, they're not wrong. So I want to know, what do you think about all this? Drop your thoughts in the comments, and as always, thanks for watching.